Now for these 3 years, we have decided that instead of advancing further, we'll go backwards. So here EO month, we'll take this date and this time -6. That means go back by 6 months, but we already have 6 here. So I'll select this, close the bracket. Now next here, we'll do the same thing, EO month, select the date, minus number of months, close the bracket. And the same here, EO month, select the date, minus the months. Now notice the difference here. 6 months later, E-date gives you the exact date. And when it's counting, it excludes the start date, okay? The count starts from the next date. For example, this is Feb 3rd. The count for 6 months starts from Feb 4th onwards. So you always say, what is 1 plus 10? Your count starts from 2, 3, 4. You keep 1 aside. And that is how, by the time you count to the 10th finger, you reach to number 11. So that's exactly the same logic. You do not include the 1 which you start with. And that's how Excel is calculating this. So 6 months down the line, these are the months and dates. And if you want the last date for those months, better use the EO month function. Now we also have the Yearfrac function over here. Let me also put another date over here. Let's say I put something like September 28, 2024. All right, now Excel fails to take this. Let me see how this can work over here. I put over here September 28, 2024. Now Excel is reading this as a date. That's perfectly fine. I use Ctrl+Shift+3, but it shows me in different formats. So I'll select this, copy format painter and select here. Here we have this. Now, what does the Yearfrac say? It tells you the difference between two dates, but in a form of a fraction or a mixed fraction, you can say. Okay, let me give you a quick example here. We say it's Yearfrac, start date is this, and end date is this. You can ignore the basis for now. You see, it's 3.65. That means more than 3.5 years from February 3rd, 2021 to September 28, 2024. It's over 3.5 years. Now, if I were to put this in a fraction format, I can have something like this up to 2 digits or 1 digit. So that's 3 years and 2/3 of a year. Now let's try another one, Yearfrac. We have the start date and the end date here. Close the brackets and we have this 3.491. And what about the next? We have Yearfrac. Select the start date, comma, the end date, 3.49. It's a mild difference between the dates and you can see the difference in the fraction. It's very small. It's just 1 day. Now what about this? I say Yearfrac. Select this date, comma, and this. Now what would happen if I were to select the other way around? I select Yearfrac. First I take the recent date or the last date as the start date and then the older date as the end date. That means it's backwards. It does not do anything. It just gives you the difference. It does not give you the value in negative. And that's the beauty. Yearfrac function does not return negative numbers. Rather, it gives you a positive number. Let's try this out again. Yearfrac. I select future date as the start date and recent date as the end date. Hit enter and you have this. I might want to just format this to Ctrl+Shift+1 so we have this years in this format. And that's perfect. Well, in case if you want it in a form of fraction, you can just select this and up to 1 digit should be a good deal. Here we have 3 years and 3.5 years. 3.5 years approximately. These are all approximates. Well, decimals would have given you a much better approximation here. Now moving on, let us see a good application of this Yearfrac function. So we were earlier working on the Bright Lights Corp case study. We have this date over here. Now we see that the date of joining is this given over here. Can we just try to find out for how long have they been working with this company? So here we have tenure. Now I would like to know how much time did they spend here. So I have Yearfrac Yearfrac. Now start date would be this, the date of joining, and end date would be today. Now here, instead of entering control semicolon, I would prefer the today function, because every time in the future, if we were to revisit this data, we will see the most updated tenure over here. And we just need to close the bracket. That's it. So it's 22.58 years. That's perfect. Now you need to either drag this down or copy and paste this down over here. So we'll just drag it and leave it. That's it. So you see the top two over here are the oldest employees who have been working for well over 22 years, with 22.5 years for Bruce McGill and Suarez. That's Jacob Suarez. And Jacob Suarez is 22 years and 0.33 years. Now what is this 0.33? We can change this to a fraction format and see that's approximately 1/3 of a year. So in case if you want this to be visible in a fraction format, so be it, else this, for some might want this to be in decimal, so you get this. So this is closer to 1/3. This is almost closer to slightly over 2/3, and between 2/3 and a full year. So that should be approximately somewhere around 9 to 9.5 months. Okay, so 20 years and 9.5 months, and so on. So we have these. That is a good place where we can see the tenuity, and we can see who's the most senior over here, rather than going through dates and trying to find the difference and calculating manually. The year function does the job for you. And well, in case if you need to know year of joining, you have this here as well. You can just say year and select this function, and you have this. So in case if you're least concerned about when did they join and you just need the year of joining, you have this. Pretty simple and good.